Hi everyone, my name is Nino P. Santiago from BSAIS 1E. This video is a speech anchored by Emilio Jacinto's Kartilya ng Katipunan of 1896. So the title of my speech is The Modern Katipuneros. Values, norms, and ethics. These are just simple and completely different words, but it only pertains on one profound description of a person's morality, principles, and character. Unfortunately, it is saddening that upon looking at today's situation, these core values seem to gradually disappear, erase, and lost from our own personality. This only proves the significance and relevance of Kartilya ng Katipunan of Emilio Jacinto in 1896. Because of his 12 guiding principles and 14 teachings, we can possibly live our life without committing a crime, violence, and discrimination. That even though we are not literally part of Katipuneros, we can be a modern Katipunero in our own little ways. Meanwhile, although Emilio Jacinto has created the Kartilya ng Katipunan to serve as a guidebook for the new Katipuneros during their times, there is no doubt that his teaching is always applicable even up to this time. Since his purpose is to tell people how they should act morally correct inside and outside their organization. Meaning to say, we can also be Katipuneros on our own little ways and in this new modern era by applying those moral principles that may help everyone to the betterment of the world. Firstly, the statement of the above-mentioned document stated that within the Katipunan, all are equal and true brethren. This statement shows the principle of the Katipunan to view everyone as equal. During their times, they don't tolerate superiority and inferiority within their organization. Consequently, if we view modern politics today, the superiority within the establishments and in our government system is very rampant. The government in the Philippines tends to view itself as someone who can rule over all of those with lower position within the state or those who do not hold any position. That is why many officials sitting on their throne are drastically loving the wealth of our nation that unfortunately leads to widespread corruption. That's why many of us are suffering from poverty and hunger because we are ranked as 117 to the most corrupt countries in the world. Secondly, if we only practice equality just like his fourth principle stated, we can avoid discrimination that only hurts and harms people. The Kartilya ng Katipunan preaches that everyone should be seen and treated equally, regardless of whether they are poor, rich, uneducated, wise, dark, or pale. If we will practice this thing, every single act can make a huge difference in addressing the problems of the Philippines, such as the issue of racism. Since if all Filipinos were going to be treated equally, those differences of everyone will no longer define a person's character. It will no longer change the fact that at the end of the day, we are all the same human beings. Third is the cases about women who experience assaults and rape cases. People should think of women as a helpmate rather than as their mere plaything. Many women are degraded up until now because of the mentality that they are only women who aren't capable of anything superior than men. As modern Katipuneros, we should break this mentality and treat all women like our mother who raised us well. If we practice respect, I believe that then there will be no mistreated women. Lastly, discrimination and oppression of the poor are also the current challenges in our own country. Many poor are being deprived of their true justice because our system is clearly favorable for rich and powerful people. If only Filipinos will stood up for the oppressed and fought the oppressor, we can be united and show our genuine compassion for others. We can now live in a world free from what we called lipunang tatsulok, that implies to rich people that becomes more richer and the poor people that becomes more poorer. As a summary, Kartilya ng Katipunan plays an important role in our modern society since it teaches us to combat our character formulation. It aims to promote peace and unity in the Filipino people's hearts and minds. Since by keeping those teachings in mind, we can avoid conflict in our own nation. As a Filipino, we have the responsibility to know what is Kartilya ng Katipunan of Emilio Jacinto. We should not only settle to be knowledgeable about it, rather, to apply Emilio Jacinto's principles for us to be a modern Katipunero that fights for the right of every Filipino. That's all for my speech entitled The Modern Katipuneros. Thank you.